Well, today's the day of reckoning for Holden's all-new VE Commodore. It's the day we drive it back-to-back with its arch-rival, the Ford Falcon. We've got 7 cars, 5 days, almost 3,500 k's across 5 states and territories. So who does make Australia's best large car? The Fairmont gear is Ford's idea of supreme luxury. So it still doesn't quite feel as flash inside, not quite as modern, but all the luxury trimmings are there, like dual climate control, air conditioning, leather seats, and an ESP function. Now that's something that comes standard across the Commodore range. But really the big draw card with the Fairmont gear is the 6-speed automatic transmission. It's intelligent, intuitive, and just gets the gear changes right and smooth. And on top of that, it's really working when it comes to fuel economy. Now, out of all the 7 cars we've got here, this car, the Fairmont gear, is the most economical. Okay, it's early days yet, but I reckon it'll keep going like that. Well, I'm in the Omega now, which is the volume seller of the Commodore range, and the amazing thing is just how far it's come along since the old VZ model. It's a lot quieter, a lot more comfortable, and it really eats up these country miles with ease. But it's not without its faults. Have a look at this. The lights on the ventilation switch, I can barely read them on a bright day like this, which is a real oversight for an Australian car. And this particular one I'm in has a really weird vibration. It's a bit hard to show, but the whole car sort of shakes at about 100, 110 k's an hour. It's coming up through the floor, the seats, and even the steering wheel. There's obviously something wrong with it. Well, I don't think that'll matter too much now. We're just about to hit the dirt road. And now it's into the luxury Calais V, the flagship of the Holden lineup, at least when it comes to luxury models. Now this almost feels cruel, taking a car like this into country like this. We've got leather, a really nice classy interior, even a DVD player, although I didn't bring any movies. Now the Calais gets the sportier suspension, which basically means firmer. And where it was a little bit jiggly and a tad uncomfortable for a luxury model on the bitumen, in the dirt, it's really coming into its own, and it's coping with these bumps a lot better than the Omega. Another part of the Calais package is a slightly different drivetrain. So same size engine, 3.6 litres, but with a little bit more power, this time 195 kilowatts. And it just feels crisper and it's got a little bit more go on these types of roads. So feels better, and it goes a lot better with the 5-speed automatic transmission. But one thing I'm noticing is that we are using slightly more fuel. Into the Commodore's arch rival, the Falcon XT, and it immediately feels like an older design. I can live with the actual look of the dash, but there's things like this A-pillar that just cuts in too fine, doesn't make you feel overly comfortable. Mechanically though, she's a solid old bus. Under the bonnet's that 4-litre 6-cylinder engine, which just seems to soldier on and has plenty of torque, so it lugs you around at low revs, no problems. Of course, it's still got a 4-speed automatic, but because of that torque, it's not quite as obvious in this car. And don't forget, Falcons also will soon come with the option of a 6-speed auto across all the models. But these really bumpy roads soon start to show a bit of an issue with the Falcon, and it comes down to suspension. It's not quite as well controlled and tied down as the Commodore, and it's also a little bit softer. And that's where you've got to baby it just a little bit more, just to look after it, although it does feel like it'll keep going for a long time. Day 3 starts from Tibooburra. Thankfully we've got all 7 cars still running, but only just. 2 flat tyres, and all that's put us behind a fair way, so we have decided to modify the route a little bit. Instead of going on to Canberra, we're going to go straight to Bathurst, then to Sydney. Well, it's day 5, the final day of our epic journey. We've covered almost 3,000 k's in 6.5 cars. And now we're in foggy Mudgee, just a few hundred k's from our run back into Sydney. Now, it's been an interesting journey, but one that's brought up a pretty clear winner, and that's the Holden Commodore. Perhaps no surprises there, although it was a genuinely impressive vehicle on all fronts. Most impressive was probably the base model Omega. It really is just a huge step in terms of a $35,000 large family car. The XT's looking and feeling a little bit more tired, but when it comes to the Fairmont gear versus the Calais V, the tussle's a little bit closer, although the Calais does win out. Still, the Falcon's impressive fuel economy and 6-speed transmission really give it a much closer match to the Calais. As for the sports models, that's another story. We'll get onto that later. For for me, I'm ready to go home.